and welcome to Mandobug Crafts, episode 71. What's up, everybody? My name is Amanda, but you may know me as Mandobug on the internet. And starting today's video out with something I've learned. Has to do with one of my works in progress, so something I learned will blend into works in progress this week, which has kind of happened these last few videos. Maybe I'll go back to, I used to have works in progress, then finished objects, and I switched it, and now maybe I need to go back to that, just because it flows better that way for using my Something I've Learned segment. Anyways, what I learned this week, or well, maybe it was last week, I haven't recorded in 2 weeks, was the Twisted German cast-on. So this cast-on, I will say, was intimidating. So I watched, let me back up. So here's the project. So this is Vintage Prim by Andrea Mowry. So Andrea Mowry was having a pattern sale for her birthday where she was giving a very generous coupon code. So I went, searched through her patterns, and I fell in love with this Vintage Prim hat. So this hat is 2 colors of fingering weight yarn, and you have this nice brioche, and there's this faux brioche cable on one section of the hat, and the other section of the hat is just a 2-color garter. So it's a very, very cute hat. I don't think I'm far enough along for you to see the faux cable yet, because I just now threw one repeat. So you can't quite see, but I think she calls it a staghorn design, kind of faux cable. So anyways, the pattern calls for a twisted German cast-on or any other kind of stretchy cast-on. And so I followed the link that she provided in her pattern to a good tutorial, and it was a great tutorial. But watching it, he really breaks down the steps, and you're like, whoa, there's a lot of steps in this cast-on. I don't know if I can do this. So I just followed the steps one by one, slowly repeating it, and after a while, it becomes as easy as a long-tail cast-on. It's actually very similar to a long-tail cast-on, but just a slightly different. And it has given me a really nice stretchy brim for this hat, so that was really nice. I think it's going to be a nice little technique to throw in my bag of knitting tricks, especially when it comes to top-down socks. I knit a lot of toe-up socks, partly because I find I make them fit better that way, but also because stretchy cast-ons aren't my favorite. I would rather do the super stretchy bind-off. But anyways, this pattern, so it's Vintage Prim by Andrea Mowry, and she is it Andrea or Andrea? That's a good one. I guess I was saying Andrea because it looks like her knit, it's Drea Renee Knits is kind of the name, I think. It's probably Andrea. Anyways, it's a pay-for pattern. The yarn is Schmitzerella. Oh, I wonder if I still have her tags. It's Schmitzerella's Dude Base. Or no, it's her Spectacular Base, which has got Stellina in it. And the colorways Edith and Sybil. They're 75% superwash merino, 20% nylon, 5% Stellina. And they're these awesome kind of kettle dyed orange and blue. They're very sparkly. I don't know if that will come across at all. And I've really been enjoying this pattern because brioche is awesome. It's reversible. And I haven't decided which side I like better. Do I like the side where the orange pops or the side where the blue pops? I'm not sure. This is the side that I'm knitting it on with the blue as the main color. So I've been very much enjoying this knit. Oh, it's I'm knitting it on US 3s. I think the pattern recommended a 4, but I know that I'm a loose knitter, so I automatically dropped down one size, and I'm glad I at least dropped down one. I don't think I'll know until I'm done whether I should have dropped down another needle size, because I've got it all bunched up on my 16-inch circular, which I'm loving the 16-inch circulars. I don't know why it took me so long to just buy extra needles because it's well worth it, in my opinion. I mean, not that magic loop's all that different or difficult, but it's just enough that I find that I prefer the 16-inch cable. Okay, so my other work in progress that I worked on this week that is still a work in progress is a giant one. It's my Betwixt blanket cape by Rempe, and I showed this one other time. It's huge. So I went to Vegas, right? I drove to California first. Well, we drove, me and my husband, and I thought, you know, for car knitting, I really want to have a big project with me that I don't normally work on because I will be forced to work on it. So I brought my cape. Luckily, I'm not in the middle of a row, so that's a good sign. I didn't knit on it as much as I thought I was going to, only because I didn't knit as much as I thought I was going to. So my friend is a mechanic, and I asked her to borrow her headlamp because we drove through the night so the kids would sleep in the car. And so I used her headlamp to knit in the car, but I started to get tired, so we took turns sleeping and driving for a little bit. And then also, even with the AC on, this blanket was just really hot in the car. So it's humongous. This is where the neck hole goes, and I'm knitting down the back, but I've already knit all the way up these fronts here. And so all I did in the car was a couple rows of this color work, but the rows are very long. I don't remember how many stitches it is, but it's a lot. And so I'm almost done with this color work section. I think when I showed it to you guys, I was somewhere like here. And so I've knit almost completely through the color work. And I think once I get past the color work and back into the color again, things will speed up because then it's just knit some purls with solid colors, keeping track of rows. But this you kind of have to pay more attention to. It is one of those very easy to follow patterns where you're only knitting 2 of one color and then 2 of the other, so you just have to 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. But you do have to pay attention, and you are carrying 2 colors, so it's a little slower, at least for me. This giant blanket cape, I'm knitting it out of Haiku Kenzie, and this one is color 1018. Oh, I'm pretty sure it has a name. I don't see it on here. 1018 and 1014. 1014's Malbec. I think this one's gray salt. The gray. But I only have a couple balls left. That's how I know I'm getting near the end. And I'm knitting it on US 6s, I think. The pattern calls for 8, but I had to drop down to 6 to get gauge. With the 8, it was just too airy and loose. I'm much happier on the 6s. And I don't think I said that one's a free pattern. So I think once it starts to cool off a little bit more, I'm definitely going to get it done so I can wear it around this fall and winter. But with as hot as it's been lately, it's hard to even think about it being cold because it's just been warm. I mean, between going down to Vegas where it was upwards of 108 degrees, even to just coming back home, and today it's been like 103 here in Washington. So I mean, that's warm for us. It's hard to think of like, what was it like when it was cold and snowing again? So that's all of my works in progress. Moving on to finished objects. I finished Emily's poncho. I was very close last time I showed it to you. I just needed to do like a couple more rows after the lacy design. So here is her poncho. And that's got the neck folded over. I haven't decided if I'm going to just go ahead and sew that down or not. I don't think it needs it, and I don't want it to pucker at all. So I think I'm just going to leave it hand folded and not actually sew it down. And then the rest, I'm happy with the way it turned out, and I'm happy with the number of single crochet rows I put after the little lace repeat. I haven't written the pattern down at all yet. I'm so bad about this. I get these ideas and I just want to get them out into finished objects, and then I get really happy about it, and then I just stop and move on to more ideas. I just want to think of the ideas and make them, and and then other people are like, oh, I would like to make that, and so then I actually have to sit down and do the work. And while I do enjoy being able to share my ideas, I am still not that great at writing it out. Just like sitting down, typing it out, making it easy to follow. I think it's because it's still new to me. I do my best, and I think what I put out is great, but it is still a lot of work for me to do that, just because it's not coming natural to me. I'm not very experienced at it. So I need to write this up, get it photographed, and get that out to testers. But I have a pile of designs that I've made that I just need to write up and get tested. I really just enjoy the creating and making aspect, not as much as the writing and the technical aspect. But I do think as I get better, as I get more experienced, I'll be able to write patterns faster. And I'll have some more standard formats that are easier, I think. And I don't really know that that's even true, because I like to do things that are pretty unique. I try to do things that no one else has done before, or at least take such a different technique, or just make it that much more different than what other people have done. So maybe it will never be easy for me. But so my other finished objects is my top, and actually even just wearing this is kind of warm. I wanted to wear it to Vegas. Oh, I didn't tell you the yarn. I've told you before, but just to remind you, this poncho, I crocheted it out of Haiku Simply Worsted in the gray metallic colorway. It's got a linen stitch body with the lace detail on the top and bottom, and I used a K-hook, in case you were wondering. But anyways, back to the top. I wanted to wear this out in Vegas, and it was just too hot to wear anything but tank top and shorts. Even just this extra layer, even though it's 100% silk, it's too much. And even inside with my AC on, it's still too much. But I wanted to be able to wear it on the podcast, and I definitely will be wearing it once it cools off. I think this is going to be a great spring/fall transition layering piece. So the way that this fits is very interesting. It's a very wide neck, and it actually wants to hang closer to the edge of my shoulders, but I don't really like the way that feels, so I pull it up a little bit, and I pull the front down more to bring the back up a little bit. So I'm going to awkwardly stand up and show you. This is my Paulina top by Coco knit out of BC Garn's Tussid Tweed in the red colorway. And so it's got a very deep neck in the front. It's got these wide pocket arms, which are so comfortable, and you don't have to worry about any pilling going on there, and they're just airy, and I think it's a cute little look. And then as you come down, let's see if I can kind of lean up on my chair. I don't have as much room in this craft room as I used to in my other one. I'm afraid let's see if I don't stand on the chair. Yeah, you still can't see. It's got a rounded bottom, so let's get back on the chair, right? Now you can't see it at all. It's got this rounded bottom, and it goes flat in the back. And remember how it's knit from one side to the center, the other side to the center. So you do a 3-needle bind off with the reverse sides facing, so you get the seam on the outside, and I think it makes this cute little, I think it's cute. I like it better than the reverse where there's no seam. I don't like that as much. And then the back has a very low scooped neck, and I think that's so cute. So overall, I'm very happy with this piece. I just know that it's just a little too warm to wear right now. And it's nothing against the top, because this is open, airy, breathable silk. It's just the weather. and I can't wait to wear it once the weather cools off. So yeah, that's all of my finished objects this week. Oh, you know, I didn't say what size needles. I think I used a US 5s on this top, which I think was a needle size down from that pattern as well. Over time, I just find that I'm becoming a looser and looser knitter. I can't help it. So all this talking and the heat, I have to stay hydrated. My kombucha, this one's raspberry from Raspberries on the Side of Our House. So good. I'm getting better. I'm slowly getting better as a brewer. But anyways, check it out. Oh, you're not even ready for this. You're not even ready. This is an amazing, amazing piece of artwork. And honestly, it's not even fair to share this with you guys because this is not available online. And I partially feel horrible even sharing this because of that, but also not, because this is part me gloating that I have one of the best mother-in-laws in the world. So we drove down to California where my husband's mom lives, and she watched the kids while we went to Vegas. And when I got down there, she gifted me this yarn bowl. She went to some sort of marketplace, and it was funny because she didn't think that I knew what it was. She's like, "Do you know it's a yarn bowl? Do you know how to use it?" I'm like, "That's cute." Of course I know what it is. I know how to use it, and this is it's amazing. I couldn't ask for a better first yarn bowl. I don't have a yarn bowl, and I started using it down there when I was visiting, and I'm gonna have to be careful because of the kids. This is just so special to me, and it's so well made. I don't want it to get damaged, so I'm only going to use it during the kids' nap times or when they're not around, until they get old enough to know to be careful around it. But I mean, this is just gorgeous, and it's so my colors with the blues and the purples. Like, I love my orange red fall, but when I'm not feeling fall, I'm feeling this wintry blue and purple, and it's just beautiful. And she was telling me it's a local artist. And I looked, there's no Etsy shop, there's no online store. His business card was just like a printed out sheet of paper with his name, address, and other local shows that he's going to be at. He's got his signature on the bottom of the piece here. I'm not sure that you can see it. But she was telling me that I think his wife collects local, I don't want to say dirt, but local things from the ground and puts it into the piece. And so that's really cool too. But I love, love, love my yarn bowl. I can share his name, but I'm not sure that if you lived outside of California, you could actually get one of his pieces. At least until he does start selling online. But yeah, that's my check it out. And then for current events, today actually, well, you won't see this until tomorrow, so yesterday was the kickoff to my crochet along that's sponsored by Skacel. So this was for my Ripple As You Go pattern, which I've talked about here and there, but I haven't actually showed it to you guys yet. Here it is. This thing is huge. So it's a giant wrap. It's 72 inches long or wide, however you want to refer to that, and it is just so much fun to make, and the yarn is self-striping, so it does all of the work on its own. You don't have to worry about extra ends to weave in. So this yarn is Shopple Wool Zauberball Starka 6, so it's a sport weight Zauberball, and it's one of the ones that the plies change colors at different times too, so it's not always solid. It looks a lot like hand spun because of that. But I mean, oh my goodness, this piece is so fun, and I can only wear this for so long because it's so hot. But I love this piece. I love the colors. I love everything about it. There's something for me, visually, about those rainbowy color changing yarns in a ripple stitch that I just love it. So with the pattern, it's a free pattern. This first week we're making the large motifs. So that pattern just went up today. So if you go to the Ripple As You Go Ravelry page and download the pattern, it will have the chart and the written instructions for how to make the big motif, as well as a link to a YouTube video where I demonstrate how to make it as well. So whatever your skill level, there is support to get you here. But yeah, so we do the big one this first week. The next week we'll be working on the little guys. The third week we'll get to the body, and then the fourth week we will join it as you go. It's so much fun to make, and it's so fun to watch how the colors change, because each of these little motifs, they're all the same yarn, just at different stages of the yarn's color. And I feel like it really breaks up everything and makes it just fun. So this is the large, which takes 2 balls, and then there's also a scarf version, which I'm making, but it's not done, and it's in a different color. And I'm on the joining row, so it's going to be hard to see. But and it's not blocked either. This one has to be blocked aggressively. But this is the scarf version. It only takes 1 ball, but you can see I have very few ripple rows before you get to the motifs. But I feel like you still get that fun, and it will still be a fun, nice scarf to wrap around. And it doesn't have the traditional feel of making a scarf where you go, X width and just repeat forever. This is like this big motif, the little ripple and a join. Kind of like a dance. But yeah, so if you are interested in joining along, you can check out crochetalongtogether.com, or it's the Crochet Along's being hosted in the Skacel Knitting Ravelry group, so stop on over in there as well. Skacel has prizes available for people who use the yarn required and follow the pattern specifically as it's intended to be made, but it is exclusive to U.S. citizens only. It's not an international one, unfortunately. So, so if you can participate and you want to participate, that would be great. If you are international, you can still participate. You just aren't eligible for prizes. But I would love for you guys to join along. I've been having a lot of fun. It was fun to design, and it was fun to film, and so it's been fun now, this first day, seeing what people make. So moving on to Let's Chat. Okay, so Vegas was so much fun. It was probably the first real vacation I've taken since I don't remember when. I mean, because when I was in the military, all of my vacation and leave time went to visit family, went to visit home. And while that's still a vacation away from work, you're going back to somewhere that's familiar to you, and it's exciting and amazing to spend time with family, but it's not as exciting as pleasure traveling like going to Vegas. Well, and then also I got to meet my cousin for the first time. She's technically, I think, my second cousin because she's my dad's cousin, but I mean, she was so much fun, and Nina is also technically my cousin, kind of in another third way. So, I mean, hey, family's family at this point, right? You don't have to explain the relations. We just had so much fun, and it was nice to have time away from the kids. It was relaxing, because normally I get like a couple hours where someone will watch them, and it's usually so that I can do something important like work, or usually just work, or certain errands that I'd prefer not to take them along with. But to know they were with family they don't see often and happy while I was away, just relaxing. There's some sort of like wall that was able to come down knowing that my kids were taken care of, and I just kind of got a break. So that was amazing. The strip was amazing. We went to Fremont, and then we went to the strip. We were only there for 2 days, but I feel like we got to see most everything. because really I just wanted to take everything in. You know, we did a little bit of gambling. I played a little bit of blackjack. That was fun. Josh played some blackjack. We played a little slot machines, but nothing like serious, you know. We weren't there to try to gamble. We just wanted to, you know, when you're in Vegas, how do you not just put a little money in a machine? I would have really liked to see some shows, but I was afraid to see shows and lose time to see other things. There's just so much to do down there. I never did make it to a yarn store, but I was okay with that because there was so much going on. I definitely have to go back. I want to see more shows. I want to go to some nightclubs. But I mean, it was just nice. It was nice to get the break. The drive was not so fun. It was like 12 and a half hours to get to California where my mother-in-law lives, but because of traffic, there was some traffic through Portland, and there was some traffic in the mornings that extended our drive, and of stopping and eating, of course, extended our drive to more like 14 and a half hours, and we decided to do it through the night so the kids would sleep in the car, which was the best possible decision. It was just tiring on us by the time we arrived at our destination because we had been up for over 24 hours with intermittent sleep breaks. So that was a little tough, but I think that was the best decision. I think that was the best possible outcome. And then we did get to spend some time with family in California before and after our flights to and back from Vegas. So that was really nice too. And I don't know, I mean, I think that's pretty much everything I wanted to say about Vegas. You know, some things that happen in Vegas stay in Vegas. Definitely so much so for my brothers more than me. But overall, yeah, it was a great time, and I'm glad we went. And we definitely have to go back. So other than that, because I haven't talked to you guys in a little while, my garden, oh my goodness. So I had friends watch my house while we were gone and, you know, let the dogs out and feed them and water the garden and feed the fish. And, you know, I was like, well, hopefully, you know, they keep the garden healthy. Well, sure they did, because when I came back, I had these giant zucchinis. When I left, they were like little babies, so I thought, oh, they might need to be picked when I get back. But when I went looking for them, I was shocked because they were huge. I'm like fairly certain that I let them grow larger than I should have. I have a feeling they may have more dense nutrition had I picked them in a smaller size, because I've never seen zucchini this large in a store. So I used one large one today to make 2 loaves of zucchini bread, and I used another large one, chopped it up with some of the summer squash. There were some summer squash that were ready, but not quite as large, and so I sauteed them together, and I made a summer squash and zucchini quiche, and then I have some leftover sauteed that is going to pair with dinner tonight. But and then I gave some to my friend that watched the house. So we're going to be set for a little while when it comes to zucchini and summer squash, because there's still more out there that I just haven't picked yet. Because I'm like, well, maybe I can let them grow a little longer and just pick what I can eat. We'll fix the rest later. But, so yeah, the garden is doing great. They did a great job taking care of my house. And it's a trade-off. So they're going to Oregon next week, and so we're going to be watching their dog and their cats. So I'm glad that worked out. Because when I lived in Georgia, we had to pay to board our animals, which, you know, is fine, but even I know these places are safe, I feel more comfortable leaving my pets in the hands of someone I know, that's not in like a big crowded area. You know, at least here the dogs got to stay in a familiar space, and not have to go with other weird dogs and all these strangers, and I can imagine it's a little scary, so I'm very fortunate they could do that for us. So yeah, I'm surprised my kids are still asleep. I think it's the heat. They've been taking really long naps in the heat. I'm not gonna complain. But yeah, so that's all I have for you guys this week. So until next week, happy crafting. Bye!